for joining me today. I am so excited that you are StreamMate's very first SM Babe.
Mhm.
If people were not already following, we posted a question, and the question was describe your first cam show. How did you feel? What were your emotions? And what struck us about your response was it was just so compelling. It was so vulnerable and raw, and I'll go ahead and post your response here within this video. Whenever you're ready, I guess go ahead and tell us what your name is and how long you've been camming for.
Mhm. So my name is Luna Enamorada. I just started camming in August. So I was always a contact worker. I have a professional job, but I was dancing and doing a lot of in calls. So once the pandemic hit, it was just really difficult. I never had an online presence before, even when it came to my own social media pages. I just felt so awkward posting. So when it came time to transition, I would say, I just did a lot of research and I saw your videos on YouTube. I literally watched every one, and the interior design one that you had, I spent so much money at TJ Maxx because of it. Oh my gosh. But camming was something that I was really nervous about because when you think about what online culture is, I feel like you immediately think about the negatives. And for me, it was just trolls. I have a lot of friends who had been online and did online only. And that's the thing they would complain to me most about was, oh, this person complained about this or said they hated that. So for me, I was just like, what am I getting myself into? So I told myself, okay, well, the least I can do is wear a mask because then my feelings won't be that hurt. And we'll just see where it goes from there. It was definitely nighttime. I had like this weird, like glow light. I don't know. I just wanted to look really cool. Um, and yeah, I was just really surprised at the positive feedback that I got. Everyone was really nice. People were just giving me so many compliments, and I was just like, where are you people in real life? I don't get this attention ever. So it really was a confidence boost because it is like very intimate outside of what streaming entails. It really gave me a boost that I felt I hadn't gotten from anywhere else. I hadn't gotten from my friends because it was me being vulnerable with these people. And um, it really was like, I don't want to say life changing because I feel like everyone uses that term, but I feel like it really changed my life because I I think I was just a lot more hesitant to share myself, especially sharing myself online. Um, so yeah, ever since then, the feedback has just been phenomenal. Having regulars was just like, you want to come back and spend more time with me? So yeah, and I'm really happy to be on a platform like StreamMate. Feels more like a community. I've connected with so many other streamers outside of the platform, like on Twitter or Discord. So yeah, overall, I'm just so happy that I took the jump, and I'm really honored that I have just gotten this recognition at this point and so early on. So thank you so much again.
You seem so empowered by the work that you do. So, this is your first real jump then into like online sex work?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And it was really terrifying for me. I did so much research as far as like, are there any risk? Can people track me? Things like that. And I feel like I know more than like anyone in IT as far as as far as like setting everything up using like external encoders, all of that. So it was a lot more difficult than I had assumed. I think when you do sex work in person, it's just a lot easier. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say easier, depending on the type of sex worker you are, but especially when it comes to working in a club, there's not the type of risk or like things that you might have to mitigate online that you would mitigate in person. So I guess I was just more concerned about the security aspect.
Yeah.
But then just like looking into like specifically streaming and how I feel like I just keep like giving y'all compliments, but I just have to.
We'll take it.
But
We'll take it.
yeah, but just seeing like the legitimacy in your platform and how you really prioritize security and making sure that um all of your users are safe and things like that. It really just, I was like, okay, I can breathe now. This isn't like a huge load that I have to figure out. But yeah, it's still new to me. I'm still learning things. I'm still asking everyone for questions. But I'm really thankful that I'm doing this in a time where I have so many resources, especially social media. I couldn't imagine people streaming 10 years ago and just to where we are now.
Yeah, I'd imagine that that's a huge transition from was it dancing that you were doing before
Yeah,
this, right? Yeah,
yeah.
just going from dancing to live streaming. So it sounds like you're kind of over the hump though of the learning curve. Um, but how did you get through that hump, I guess? Like, was it just through research or was it through just the firsthand experience of just starting your show and just doing it?
I think, and I know I said this before, but honestly, the YouTube series that you had, it really made me feel a lot more comfortable about camming just because you had a couple of like one-on-one interviews that you did, and it felt more real to me, if that makes sense. I feel like when you're doing things online, even like this conversation right now, like it sometimes doesn't feel real. And I think once I started watching a lot of your videos and hearing you talk more about streaming or just the experiences of other persons like in this field, whether it be like, how was it when you were in high school and elementary school to now? It was really relatable. And I think it just gave me a level of comfortability that I just told myself, okay, like this isn't as scary and unattainable as I'm telling myself it is. Yeah, I guess outside of it, just like Googling a lot of questions. But yeah, thank you so
You
much to
said you're
see you.
on
I'm here
Discord?
today.
Oh my gosh, girl, you're making me blush over here.
It's the
Thank
truth. It's the
you.
truth.
I'm really, you know what? I'm glad that you said that because I'm glad that you just kind of put those videos out there, but you don't really know if anyone actually like gets what's the big takeaway, you know? So I'm really glad to hear that you were able to get something from those.
Yeah, thank you.
You said that you're on Discord, so it sounds like you're really in touch then with the camming community. Do you get a lot of support?
Absolutely. Reddit, I would say any question that I seriously had, whether it had been how do you deal with customers, or how do you get rid of like first day jitters? How do you stay motivated when you're working in your home? Um, those resources then and till this day now really get me through um, just like everything. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I really cannot imagine what it would be like streaming without these resources.
As far as your background, then, give us a little bit of insight as to what you were doing right before you started camming.
Yeah, well, my main focus is politics. So ideally, I would be in like a PhD program, but with the pandemic, you can't really do that. But yeah, my main focus is working in local government, things like that. Right now, um, I don't know. I guess I got to this point where I felt like I was living two lives as far as not being able to incorporate some of the things that I see wrong with laws such as FOSTA SESTA, like the Earn It Act. It felt like I couldn't talk to people in my field about these things that were affecting me, but I couldn't say that it was affecting me. Um, and then I got to this point where I just said, I don't know if you can curse on here, but F it. Like, who cares? I just started meeting a lot of women who were doing union work, doing collective bargaining, but were also doing scenes and just seeing that like you can balance both. So
That's super interesting.
yeah,
Well, it's
but
interesting that you were involved on one, you were straddling the line of being involved on both sides. So obviously, that Vasta Sesta has had a huge impact on our industry. Um, did that touch at all? I'm assuming you were dancing around the time that that happened. So did that have a huge impact on when you were dancing?
it was more, we were having more conversations about um, like undercover cops coming in and conversations that wouldn't be appropriate with someone that you yourself couldn't determine, like, is this someone who's like legitimately working for law enforcement? So when it comes to like what's regarded as trafficking, I think the difficulty was and I'm sure there's like a lot of other dancers that do this, trying to uh, connect with your regulars.
Yeah.
So I would say there was a lot more hesitation with that. And ideally, it was just, I think it just made it harder. I was probably not making as much as I could. Yeah, I would say it didn't affect me as much as I saw it affect my friends who were at the end of 2017, like losing their entire Tumblr accounts that they had spent years working on.
Yeah.
So that's when I started getting like, oh, okay, like this isn't right, and like there's something that I want to do about it. So hopefully down the road I can incorporate my understanding of like government and just how that affects our lives, and what can we do on a long-term basis for just like mitigating these concerns and effectively combating trafficking, because at the end of the day we're all against that. So
Yeah. I think, a lot of these issues, it really does still come back to the stigmas about adult work, sex work.
mhm.
And so, what do you think is important for government, lawmakers, policymakers to know about adult workers and about sex workers and sex work in general? What do you think is maybe what is misunderstood between the two? I guess vanilla society and the adult community.
I would say that number one, there is a lack of understanding that this is something that is number one consensual. And I feel as if, as far as the stigma towards the legitimacy of what any human doing sex work can do, I often see like the conversations of, well, if you can do this, then you can't. Like be a good mom, or you can't do this, or you don't have like any legitimacy in your job when you could be going to school and doing this and doing that. As far as where I see us going in the future, I think it's definitely going to be a long road. um, but what we really need to do is just have more intersectionality between sex workers and persons in politics. So, there are really good organizations. I'm trying to think of like the Bay Area sex workers. They do a
Oh,
lot that,
swap.
Yeah. Oh, swap. Okay. I'm like blanking right now, but I've I've read a book that highlighted some of their work around like 2010, and I keep up with their social media. So I would hope moving forward that you see a lot more things like that done in the community, where there's actually an intermingling of people in politics, and just more vocalization.
It's interesting you say intersectionality because I mean, you're kind of, you very well may be one of those people, you know, that is involved in changing some of these policies, or at least, if anything, just
Hopefully.
helping to humanize sex
Yeah.
workers a bit more so people have a clearer understanding of what this actually entails and who these
Mhm.
people are. So now that you are, you know, you're on this platform and you're full-fledged on in this work, what do you see in the next over the next 6 months for you? Like,
Mhm.
what do you have any big goals with all of this in general?
I definitely want to work with some organization to put out like a intensive article, like maybe in a journal, just understanding how we got to this present state of sex work. I've been really interested in on the historical aspect and seeing how we've gotten to our trafficking laws. Seeing how porn built the internet and yet they want to tear it down. So I would love to produce something like that that just really dives into where we currently are and what we can do specific to the United States. And I still want to get a PhD, so I definitely want to pursue that. But I feel like after coming online, I don't want to work in person anymore because I'm loving it so much. So they can stay closed if they want because I'm doing
That's
just
amazing.
kidding.
That's amazing. And what I, you know, take away from just this short conversation is I feel like you really are like the future of this industry. I
Oh my
really do,
God.
because you are so vested in more ways than just what benefits you, but what
Yeah.
benefits the adult community in general, and sex workers and performers in general. And
Yeah,
so
I
you're so amazing.
thank you. I hope to be
Yeah.
camming for a really long time, as long as I can keep it up. And yeah, I'm just really excited to grow more in this community. I think that it's really lonely when you're restricted to like a venue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it just feels like this entire like world that I'm just now diving into, and I feel like it's going off to a good start. Yeah.
Can you give us a few, like three words to describe how you feel about where you are in your cam journey right now?
Oh, ugh, a mess because I can't stick to a schedule. Jeez. Where am I? Determined. Mm, excited because although people can sometimes see me mess up on something, they see that I'm still determined and I'm still excited and happy to be there. So yeah, that was kind of more than 3 words, but I hope you I hope you get what I mean.
I do. And the final question is, what's the biggest learning lesson you've had so far in this process of getting started as a cam model in 2020?
I would say I didn't think that camming would be so technical. I didn't think that I would be, there's so much skills that a lot of people don't realize that are a part of it, including me at first, like marketing, branding yourself. It was just like so much PR work that I took like a semester class on it, but geez, like this is like a whole nother ball field. Um, Engaging like with people. everything. So I guess my biggest takeaway is that this is not easy. And it's still not easy, but I'm definitely making my way.
Yes, girl. And I feel like, you're off to a strong start. And
Thank
we're
you.
definitely going to be watching you closely as we move forward, and through this pandemic as well. So I really am so appreciative of you taking the time to chat with me, and also giving us more insight as to who you are and where you are in your
Yeah.
whole journey. So I wish you the best.